Hello and welcome to another cup of coffee with me, Sandy. This program is extremely different. In my long lifetime, I have met and worked with very famous people, singers, dancers, musicians, you name it. I've truly been very blessed. But never in my life have I met someone like this gentleman, who I feel totally honored to call my friend and is my guest today. He is an artist, a sculptor extraordinaire, and he was born in Cueta, southern Spain. At the age of 17, he left with no money and decided to go to America. He went to New York. He didn't speak any English. He had no money. He tried to buy a newspaper at a corner kiosk, and they didn't understand what he was even saying. The one thing that he had with him was a watch that his father gave him. And he decided he was going to take this watch off. He threw it into the Hudson River and decided he had to make things happen himself. He had talent, he had tenacity, and he was going to make it. And this is almost, or even more than 40 years ago. My guest today is the most incredible sculptor, artist. Some of his work, his paintings, are in the Guggenheim Museum in New York. And his sculptures are the largest, some of them are the largest in the entire world. Now, I'm going to lift a book up to show you some of his work before I introduce him. And this is his book. And you can see the title, and it is Vulcan, Venus, and Genesis. And these huge, huge sculptures, all, and I'm turning the page around, the book around, and all are in a wonderful little city called Ashland, which sits on the Ohio River in Kentucky. And these are his sculptures, which are lit up at night, because his life really started in Ashland, Kentucky. So I am going to show you a few of the pictures inside. I'm just going to open up, and this is the gentleman at work. I hope you can see. He starts off with small drawings or sculptures, and then they turn into huge, huge, huge sculptures. And he has sculptured Venus, Hercules, and do you know that all this is a tribute to the workers of America? And there are two columns of Hercules, and also the Union of the World, the monumental piece. They are considered the largest bronze sculptures of classical mythology. Besides all this, there is another side to my friend Serran Pagan. He is also very involved with American Indians. So this is going to be a very different, possibly much longer, possibly in two parts. I have no idea. But this is, for me, an honor and a privilege to be introducing you to my friend, Serran Pagan. Finis, thank you for being my friend. And now I am going to introduce you on screen Hello, Gynnis, Serran Pagan. Welcome to A Cup of Coffee. It has taken me nearly 3 years to have you join me, and I can't tell you what it means to me. Hello and welcome. As I told you, my guest today is Gynnis Serran Pagan, who is a dear friend, and it has taken me all these years to get him to come and have a cup of coffee with me. And this is a pleasure and a joy for me. Gynnis, welcome to A Cup of Coffee. Thank you for joining me. And you have been a global artistic phenomenon for over 40 years. I have mentioned already how you started. Please give me a little bit of a story about Ashland and how that changed your life.
Um, Hi, Sandy. It's a pleasure to see you now and to talk to you and to have this cup of coffee with you today. Um, it's, uh, it's wonderful to see you after those 2 or 3 years that we had of COVID, and I didn't have the pleasure to see you again. I will be more than glad to talk to you about anything related to my work. Well, um, it's been a long journey, I would say, since I was born in Spain, and then I left so young from my country, and um, thinking that I arrived to New York in 1971, and this is already 52 years ago, and I was very young. I was 21 years old, and after half a century, I could say that the journey is it's been a long, but it's endless, and I feel still very young. Still, I feel ready to keep walking. Yes, to keep.
You will never stop working at all. But I know that your life in America really started in Ashland, Kentucky. And that
Yeah.
is where your first very big sculptures began. How did that begin? How did you get to Ashland?
I have a good friend in the United States, and I at that time he lived in California, in Capistrano, and accidentally we met. I, I I rented a house right on the beach to with my son, and this is like 2009, 14 years ago. I had a show in Miami, and then after the exhibition, I decided to go to California to rest on the beach and to paint, to work, and I rent this beautiful house right on the sand, and then I was um, painting, and there's a little dog coming inside our house. The house was right on the sun. So, and then the owner came after asking, "Did you see a dog?" And I said, "Yes. There was a dog coming to my home, and Paco, my son, was playing with him, and David, that's his name." Um, Immediately invite us to his place to have a drink. He left just a couple of houses uh, from the house I rented, and and when he was leaving, he said, "You painting, no?" And I said, "Yes, I'm painting. I started painting this morning." And he said, "Looks like a guitar." And I said, "Yes, it's a red guitar." And he said, and he asked me, "How much will be that, more or less?" Because I heard from my neighbor that you also from the next house. They said that you moved here, and uh, the day before introduced myself to my immediate neighbor, and I told them that I'm an artist. And he just left two houses from me, He said, my immediate neighbor told me that you are an artist and that you are moving here to paint, to work. And I said, yes. And then he asked me for the price for the painting. And he said, well, more or less, this is the price. And then he said, okay. Then when he was leaving, I said, by the way, that painting is already sold. And I said, what do you mean? He said, yeah, I'm buying it. And I said, but I just started. I started just a couple hours ago. I said, when you finish it, please, you bring it to my home, and now I'll pass by and I'll pick it up. But I love the colors and all that. So anyway, we had a drink together in his house, and then we became good friends. He bought he bought the painting, then he bought many of them, and then I gave them some to him and his wife. And then he was from Ashland, Kentucky. He had a house in Capistrano Beach. He had a place in a beautiful island, Sunnyvale Island in Florida, and and we immediately became very close friends. And since then, we spent many Christmas and New Year's together, and we are always in contact. And David, I didn't know who was him, but he's an interesting uh, person, very humble, extremely smart in business, and he's one of the co-founders of Home Depot, which is one of the biggest companies in the United States. And then he started in 1970s, and then he expanded. Then the company was bought, and then he kept a large amount of shares. But he's one of the four co-founders of Home Depot, and then the friendship lasts till today. And then one of was 2018, 5 years ago, that I went to his house in Ashland to celebrate the Christmas with them, and then he invited me to a dinner with the mayor and other people in the city. Um, and then they asked me, why don't you create a sculpture for 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 this area of the Front River, the Ohio Front River, where Ashland, Kentucky is located. And then I said, well, I'll think about it. And then I think about something. I'll make a design and I'll send it to you. Then and see if you like the design. Then I'll do the sculpture. And so then I noticed that in the public school of the city, in the windows there was in a repetitive way there were like a design of circles with a kind of lines crossing the circles, and I asked them what is, because they went through the same high school, all of them, the mayor, David, and his friends. So what is the meaning of that circle crossing by these lines? And there were 5 lines, and then they didn't know, and they said probably it's a decoration, an ornamental thing. But I knew what it meant for the architect or for the designer of the building, and what it meant was that the design and the architect was playing with symbols, and the symbols were the 4 natural elements uh, of of life: the earth, the air, the water, and the fire. The
Is
four.
this something, I'm going to stop you, is this something that you are talking about?
Yes, yes. And then when I saw these 4 elements, there was a fifth element, and then not many people know that the fifth element in some all mythological and all the classic cultures, and also in India, um, they play with a fifth element, which is number 0. Number 0 means the origin, the beginning, which means God. So you mix 0, or you means you mix the beginning with the four elements, and you get life. So, so then I kind of uncover the kind of mystery of those designs, and I said, well, this could be the beginning of of a sculpture that I could create for the town, which I can call it Genesis because it's the beginning of life. And so when I create Genesis, I show to them a circle with lines crossing. Then I said, well, something, this is very abstract. The town is classical, it's traditional, probably it's too abstract for the city. Maybe I should create a more figurative sculpture related to the industrial life of the town, which is very is metallurgy. They work with metals, and for many years, for hundreds of years.
Was
And
this
then
it?
yes, that could be this could be Genesis, right? And then I said the god the god of metal, the god of fire. According to the classic mythology, the Greek and Romans was a Vulcan. Um, and then I told them, I said, if I do Vulcan hammering, um, then I could get close to the industrial life, and it could be like a tribute to the metal workers in America. So the sculpture could be representative of of the metal workers of the United States, and they love the idea of Genesis and Vulcan, but then there was something missing. One is after a sculpture, a figurative one, and then I said we need the figure of a woman here, and Vulcan's wife, according to the mythology, was Venus. And Venus was a kind of um, arrangement or gift that the Olympus, that Zeus, gave to Vulcan, because Vulcan, when he was a kid, when he was a child, according to the legend, he fell from the sky. He fell from the Olympus to the earth, and he damaged his legs, and he damaged part of his face, and he was not a very handsome man. And since he was limping and was not a very handsome, the gods offered him as his wife the most beautiful woman in the Olympus, which was Venus.
Was
And
this
so,
Venus?
so
Was this your
that,
Venus?
yeah, that's right. That's me making Venus. And then they love the idea of having Vulcan as a tribute to the metal workers of America, and then Venus as a goddess of beauty, and also I create Venus with an ash plant, ash leaves in her hand, since the town is called Ashland. It comes from the ash tree. So I place this ash tree, ash plant in her hand, and then they love this triptych, and I start working on it in very a monumental scale. So Genesis is with a pedestal is like 12 meters high, and Vulcano is like almost 6 meters, and Venus is over 5 meters, and and it worked. And that's that's the way I started with Ashland, through my friend David, and that accidental meeting in Capistrano Beach, and then with this um, note, and when I noticed that those circles in the school of the town, and I started developing the idea of a sculpture that now is a classic. They celebrate musicals, concerts. It is right on the Ohio riverfront. It is a major attraction in the city. Also, Kentucky included as one of the place to visit for tourists when they get to the state of Kentucky, and it's also considered the biggest monumental group of sculptures in the United States. Two sculptures figurative and one abstract. The whole ensemble, the whole group is now the biggest in the country. So, and I feel very happy that the people are enjoying it, and it's becoming an icon that they can attract tourists, and they can help their business and the economy, and they can feel proud of it.
I'm showing pictures of your book as you're talking, but I just want to show my viewers how large your sculptures are. I mean, they really are huge. Some of them are known as the largest sculptures in the world.
Thank you, Sandy. Yeah, sometimes when I do, most of my works is very monumental, even though I do also, I create a small sculpture in medium sizes. Sometimes people ask me, or sometimes I do for galleries, but most of my work is monumental. It's in cities, they are in plazas, in the streets, and museums, but um, as I am growing old, I
We all
realize
are.
I feel younger and younger like you.
Me too.
But if as I'm growing, I would say with more and more experience in my artwork, I feel more and more inferior and insignificant. I think is the right word. Insignificant. Compared to the majestic of my sculptures. I create something that is so big, so strong, that it goes beyond me. Our work is more important than ourselves, and it's going to last for thousands of years. And I feel more and more insignificant. And we just passing by. These sculptures casted in bronze are going to last for thousands, maybe 5, 8, 10,000 years, and we are just a little dust in the air, compared to them.
I know that you come from Suta, and I have heard that some of your work you are donating to your hometown so that you can be giving back what you got from them for 17 years of your life. Is that correct?
Yes, I gave to my hometown a number of works. Some others, the government of Spain bought some of them too, and but definitely one of them, which is called the Union of the World, is a Hercules. With the pillars of Hercules. One pillar is Gibraltar, and the other one is Ceuta, where I was born. My hometown, which is a Spanish city, but in the northern part of Africa, and we are now very close. We are in Marbella. We just 1 hour from there. I'm bringing this a replica of Hercules. I'm bringing as a donation to the United Nations. It's going to be a gift from the Spanish government to the UN. And I had a meeting with the ambassador of Spain at the UN last year in June. And then we are now in the process proceeding with the donation. I hope that this year can be done. It was a little bit complicated with the war in Ukraine,
Is
but
this
yeah,
is this
this is
what you are donating?
yes. And they said the one that it comes with the columns. Um, as a matter of fact, the legend, the myth is the Hercules went to the end of the world, which at that time, before the discovery of America and all that stuff, the end of the world was the Strait of Gibraltar. The two poles, the 2 points, Europe and Africa, in a showing his strength, he divided 2 continents, and this is the way the pillars of Hercules are born, the legend. But when I was making the pillar of Hercules, which is 8 meters high, um, when I was making it, I realized that I don't want to separate anything, and I want to distort. I want to to change the legend in a way. And instead of the hero separating the columns, separating the continents, I I create I created him putting it together and the pillars, putting the and I call it the union of the world. So in I made one sculpture with a legend, splitting it, and the other one putting the
Putting it
columns together.
together. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
And that,
the world is coming together, it's not going apart. I
right.
also know that you are very famous in America and have been given the keys of the cities of several places. You are very quiet about that, but I've actually seen the keys of the cities when you had your gallery in Puerto Banús. And from somebody who came from absolutely nothing to have achieved so much in your life, and you're talking about everything, it really just, to me, look how you have grown. You have started from nothing and gone to this amazing man. Uh, our time is very short now, and I just want to ask you one other question, and that is, what have you got up for the future?
Excuse me, I couldn't hear
What
you.
I'm asking you, what is your future project?
Um, Thank you. I'm sorry, Sandy. I have here this guy. This is Kali.
Yeah.
Kali. Hi. Um, I have few projects now. I'm diversifying. I always diversify my work, and I'm working with a number of projects. Uh, the last one was approved just last week, and is an sculpture of another goddess called Aurora, which is the goddess of the dawn, the goddess of the sunrise. Um, she's the goddess that brings the first light in the morning to the world, and it's a beautiful sculpture where she brings like a torch with light. And Aurora is the sister of the moon, and she is the sister of the sun, and the sun is her brother. And I'm making this for the Philippines, and Aurora is going to be surrounded by 2 horses, and in the middle there is a lion. It was approved just last week. It's a monumental work too.
And it's
It's
also going to be huge.
excuse me.
It's also going to be very big.
Yes, it's going to be exactly in the island of Mindanao, in um, in the city of Davao, which is the capital of Mindanao. And in the Philippines, I made I made in the last, I would say 10 years, I made like around 15 sculptures, which are monumental in Manila and Cebu and Iloilo and other provinces. I made a number of sculptures of heroes and figures and characteristics to the country, like an indigenous leader, Lapu-Lapu, who killed Magellan when Magellan was around the world, and he he uh, he died in the Philippines, and I made Magellan too. So this is one of the projects in Asia. Um, Asia is a very Asia is very special uh, continent for me. Uh, since uh, since I've been living in betwixt New York and Asia, um, and in the last, I would say, since 1988, I had my first show in India, and then from India I left in China and in Japan, and then I had shows in the Philippines, Indonesia, and Malaysia, and Singapore, and Hong Kong. So Asia was always a reference for me, um, and definitely one of the projects I said of the Philippine one is we are creating a museum in Japan about my work because I left there in and out like 6 years, and then I keep having shows in Japan, and then another project that I have is an sculpture in Miami, which I call it the Pearl of the Seas. Is an sculpture that is welcoming the visitors, the cruises and tourists and people arriving to Miami. Then I have another project in Morocco, in Rabat, that we are working now. I was with my son in Rabat a couple of weeks ago, meeting with the people in the government. And is a museum in Rabat, and then another one in my hometown in Ceuta. We are doing a museum of Hercules, and
Goodness, you are so busy. I don't know
and then
how
I don't
you
know.
find the time to do anything
I,
more.
I
We are nearly running out of time. And I am so sad about that because there is so much more I want to ask you. And I just want to know, are you going to be having another exhibition here in Spain, in the Costa del Sol area, in the future, in this year? Do you think that's possible?
Yes, we are thinking to have a show this year in Amsterdam. But I don't know in Costa del Sol, but if I do, I will let you know.
Please.
Uh, the next one will be in Amsterdam and another one in Paris. But definitely I will invite you for the opening of the Museum of Hercules, which is going to be in Ceuta.
When you open up in
We
Rabat,
we
I
we
am
hope that we hope that could be done by September.
okay.
September or latest October. Yeah.
When you open in Rabat, please tell me because I love Morocco so much. In the meantime, it has taken us 3 years to get to where we are today. If people have seen you coming a little to the screen more, it is because the sound system has not been absolutely wonderful. So please forgive that. And I just hope that they've been able to see the pictures that I have been holding up because that book for me, although you've written to in it that you are my friend, it is a very precious book and it sits on my coffee table in my home.
Thank you.
And I just hope that Paco, who I love, your son, and Chata, who is absolutely beautiful, you have got two children who are just as artistic as you. And I say to all the family, I send love from my heart. And the best thing that you've ever painted, as far as I am concerned, is the heart painting. I love that with my heart and soul.
Thank you very much, and I will let them know. And then also they love you, and we are like a team, and we work together. Paco is an artist, and Chata, she studied architecture and graphic design. She does all. She designed my project, and then we are together all the time. We work together, and and I'm very happy with this that we are keeping not only the family ties but also the professional work. I share everything with them, and they share everything with me, and so this is very rewarding.
Thank
I
you.
think
Thank
that is
you.
a feeling that it's going to continue.
I
We're
am
going to continue
sure
the tradition.
I am sure it will. And to the whole family, I say thank you. And to you for giving me your time on a weekend morning when the sun is shining. It's even more special to me. So, Hines Serran Pagan, thank you for everything. And may you just continue to put smiles on everybody's faces. And to my viewers, I say, I am sure that you have enjoyed all that you have seen. Thank you so much. I will see you again soon. Take care and finish. Un beso. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you, Sandy, and